What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. The highly anticipated day is here. So they did unveil their March numbers. I want to go over some of the key points that you need to be aware of, data points, and everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So pre-market is up 1.57%. A couple different attributing factors. One is good data. So we did have manufacturing data coming in at 51.2. Forecast is 51. So essentially moving up. So anything above 50 does show more of an expansion occurring in the broader market. So that's kind of a good thing, as well as this manufacturing data is a little bit more advantageous to kind of analyze than the NBS manufacturing. So NBS is very broad, whereas this one right here is it's a smaller control group, so a lot more kind of realistic in a lot of senses. So this is a very good data. Aside from that, NIO. So NIO did unveil this. So NIO Inc. provides March and first quarter 2025 delivery update. So in March, they did increase 26.7% year over year. So 15,039. Of that 15,000, you had 10,219 from NIO, then 4,820 from Onvo. So of course, for face value, not necessarily the best. I'm sure some individuals might try to spin it as a very, very strong positive, but I think clearly all the negatives have already been built into the stock price already, because essentially this should, for face value, bring the stock price down. And I'm not here to just FUD things. I'm very realistic. So this is below the target. So if you think about it, it would normally cause the stock price to go down, but since it's not, that does mean that clearly the market's already priced in worst case scenario for NIO. So maybe this might be premature to say, but maybe the bottom is in. We'll just have to wait and see. Yesterday it did have a crazy pullback, but then it just got a second wind. Big money started to buy up NIO. So yesterday it did have a low of 359. Give yourself a shout out if you did kind of catch that bottom. But as far as pre-market activity, it looks as though that people seem to be fairly satisfied and wanting to really move it higher. Shorts aren't doing all that much today, so 14.77% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 214.03 million shares. The only other thing that I wanted to bring up was this right here. So Afonso did do an article, and in this article it says that they're preparing to launch 8 models between April and the end of this year. So like I've kind of complained about in the past couple of videos, it's very unique of a circumstance that they kind of talk on how much they're burning through for cash, how they're wanting to cut some unnecessary costs, then they're doing 8 models. So I don't know, interesting circumstance, but market seems to be liking all of it because, like I said, it's moving up. So let me know your thoughts on that. As far as the options that was done yesterday, you were seeing a consensus for it to be above that 4 to 450. So very nice recovery is anticipated. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 350. So kind of on a key pivot right now. So we'll just have to wait and see how that all plays out. But right now with that 388 pre-market, it is trading between this S2 and this S3. Today is a must close above S2 level kind of day. So $3.92, that's going to be a key one to really get over, because if it is now the second consecutive day for it to kind of close below that, then this is where it would really prompt a additional pullback. So 392 will be a key one to watch today. 418 and then 460 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points, and then 350 is going to be that strong support. So maybe because of their numbers that they did put out, you might see some ratings coming out today. So that could be a good thing, dependent on obviously the price target. Lately, there's been a lot of kind of mid 4s for the most part. You have a $8.10 rating recently as well from Citi, but I think if analysts come out and say even like 450, then in theory it should really push NIO higher, because where NIO's at 388, so it's kind of seen as a pretty deep discount. But as a consensus of all the recent ratings over the last 3 months, $4.89, and that does represent a 28.35% upside. But Aside from that though, looking on the actual chart, so you have that ALMA sitting at 403, and then aside from that, the only thing to really bring up is the fact that it is very oversold, and you can see that from the stochastic RSI. So honestly, it's been like this for a while, but there's not really much to say on NIO. If you're one of those individuals that believes in the gap needs to be filled type of thing, then technically NIO's gap right here should be filled at one point or another, meaning that it could really move up to that 420-ish range. So again, something to kind of keep in mind overall. But yeah, I think NIO is definitely one of those very interesting stocks. They're trying very, very hard, gets a lot of manipulation, but management also messes up at the same time. So there's a lot of different moving parts, but let me know your thoughts on NIO. What's your viewpoint on these numbers? So on a side note, I know I didn't really bring it up, but for the end of March 2025 for a quarter, that did go up to 40.1% year over year. So 42,094 vehicles. So honestly, I think at least they're moving in the right direction. But still at the end of the day, I think that they should just shut up, stay silent. And I don't know why, but this individual and a couple others, I think there's just way too many people from NIO talking. And then you have a lot of these articles, and then you have a lot of these targets as stated. It's just a lot of unnecessary crap. They themselves are their own PR nightmare. So I think just NIO needs to shut up, not say anything going forward, and just get the damn job done. And that is it. That's the only way to really prove a lot of the bears wrong at the end of the day. So let me know your viewpoint on all of that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And what's your kind of general thoughts on the market today? Do you think it's going to be green? Do you think it's going to push lower? Yesterday I was very wrong. I thought that it was going to have a crazy pullback. Kind of did first thing, but unexpectedly you had a lot of big buying that did occur, pushed it very high. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on all of that. One final thing, pop over to my Discord, completely free. A lot of good people, a lot of good chat talking about stocks, options, crypto, everything that you need in life. So definitely join, link in the description below and also the comments. So with all that, appreciate all of you watching.